Hi guys, Brent here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Fun Streak, which is a fun little experiment I've been doing over on the Twitch end of things for quite some time. About 3 weeks here, my first Fun Streak ending at 34, and my one currently still going at the time of recording at a whopping 128. Now, what is the Fun Streak? Because it's something that I've brought up in a couple of the React videos, but it's something I haven't really addressed fully to the YouTube side of things, especially when it comes to the commentary aspect of things. So I kind of want to break down why I'm even doing the Fun Streak, what it contains, and kind of the struggles that I've had doing it, because there's been a little bit of pushback on it that I find speaks more to the general mindset and state of DBD players right now, which is probably interesting to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I'm going to explain what the Fun Streak is. So I had been in a situation in like the past couple months where I kind of realized that a lot of the times I would go into Dead by Daylight playing the game, I'd be kind of just like grumpy, grouchy. And, you know, that's for a multitude of reasons. It's not just Dead by Daylight. I'm probably going to make a video on that kind of topic, you know, with, outside emotions in Dead by Daylight as well. But for this video, I was realizing essentially that I was just kind of like grumpy, grouchy, and a lot of things very easily irritated me about the game. And I was wondering, you know, after it was pointed out by a couple people that I'm like, hey, you seem a little bit more grouchy lately. I was like, okay, well, let's put my money where my mouth is. If I want to have a humble and happy experience playing this game, how hard is it realistically? Because honestly, a lot of the time, a lot of people just kind of like boot up DBD and they're kind of like not in any sense trying to look to have fun. And I know that sounds strange, but a lot of people just kind of like, you know, boot up a game and then they're an open canvas. That's a common way people play games. They just kind of open up the game and they're a blank canvas. Whatever happens, happens. Either it just really frustrates them or they're just kind of going to have a good time, irregardless, just because they just want to like relax for a little bit. Now, my idea was what if I go into every game of Dead by Daylight, and even if something frustrating is happening, even if something dumb is happening, what can I do to make the best out of it? Am I able to salvage some piece of fun from this match, some good memory that I can keep from this match that made it at least tolerable, and at least like, you know, like a 6 or 7 out of 10, 10 being like the most fun, 1 being like this was miserable. Keep it like at least a 6 or a 7 out of 10. That some fun takeaway I can take away from every match that I'm like, oh, that's pretty all right. Yeah, that's pretty good. And try to, you know, implement that into my playstyle and my mentality. It's like, let's have at least one fun thing that I take away that made that match fun, even if things aren't going so well. So I started walking into every match doing that. It is if a match started to become frustrating, whether it be like sweaty players, sweaty builds, bad map design, bad map RNG, really oppressive perks. Like if stuff like that came into play, I would start thinking, well, what can I do to make this match fun or salvageable? Do I throw for a funny flashlight save? Do I try to improve at this specific killer I'm playing because I'm not so good at them, so I'm going to go some crazy wild shots to try and help me improve? Stuff like that. What am I going to do in reaction to having a negative experience that is going to potentially turn it into a positive experience? And as I stated at the beginning of this video, it ended up being a lot more feasible to have a good time in the game if my mentality wasn't just to like get easily irritated about everything bad that happened. Once I had the mindset of like, how can I turn this into a positive? I was able to very easily do that. My first Fun Streak was 34 full matches, and then it was ended by a 4 slowdown Skull Merchant that was BMing and camping and tunneling. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have any fun in that match. But then that became the challenge. It's like, how would I have fun in that scenario again? If I ended up there again, how would I have fun? So I actually ended up in a scenario in the current 128 Fun Streak where I was facing a 3 slowdown, not a 4 slowdown, but a 3 slowdown Skull Merchant that was tunneling. And I recently have been going for flashlight saves more often just because that's like something I pretty uniquely find fun. And I was hitting all kinds of crazy flashlight saves on her. And even though we lost, even though she did do the same things that took the Fun Streak the first time, I had fun during that match where Skull Merchant was playing the same way because I was hitting some pretty cool saves. So I was like, hey, that's my takeaway. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm pretty hype about that. So it allowed me to turn a lot of negatives into positives. And it wasn't even like, because I know what somebody's probably already typing down in the comments is like, wow, the fact that you even have to think about having fun in this game is a problem. That's the thing. It's like, that's really not that difficult. I'm not really putting in a tremendous amount of effort to do that. It's really just a very, very, very small mindset switch. Like going from, oh, well, that Skull Merchant was terrible and I hate her, to, oh, well, yeah, that was stupid, but like, dude, she got sauced on by those flashlights. You know, like it's very minor. It's such a minor switch in mindset that it just completely changes the way you look at the game once you realize that you're not just a helpless baby when the game's putting all these unfun aspects of its asymmetry on you. You can just do stuff about that. You're not just a helpless child. You can do things about these negative things that are happening to you. And once you took that power into your hands, it completely changes how you feel about things. And I think like one of the main things that I set out to do with this fun streak was to really see just like how bad and unfun the state of the game is, because that's kind of like what's been being said even before a lot of the recent changes. People have been saying even back at 6.1 chapter update that, you know, the game is going downhill. The game is the most boring it's ever been. It's terrible. And I was going to put my money where my mouth is and said, like, is it really that impossible to have fun? Is it really that impossible to have that many fun matches in a row? And my lowest streak so far has been 34, and my highest is currently 128. So, like, I don't know. It's like, is the game really in that awful of a space if, like, a small mindset change allowed me to have 128 fun matches in a row? Is the game really in that dire of an unfun state that like, even if you just try just a tiny bit, not even a lot, just a tiny bit, just a little mindset switch, and you can turn 128 straight games into a good experience? Is the game really that boring and awful? And obviously that comes back to like the mindset aspect of it, which is kind of what I'm trying to highlight here, is a lot of it kind of boils down to a terrible mindset. I have plenty of people that I know that play this game who said, I hate this map, I hate this map, I hate this map. And it gets to the point where like they hate every map in the game. Or they go, I hate facing this killer, I hate facing this killer, I hate facing this killer. And they list like 27 of the 30 characters. Like, like there is a distinct mindset going on there that is like uniquely deriving you of fun. Like or denying you fun. It is depriving you. That's the word I was looking for. It's uniquely depriving you of fun, which is something that I see a lot in DBD players, is that they're just kind of very downright miserable. And then there's I'll get through this in another video, probably more in depth, but DBD is naturally kind of a very frustrating game in the sense that it is, it's in its asymmetrical nature. A lot of random stuff can screw you over. That's really not your fault. And it can feel bad. And if all you care about is winning or like, gliding through things seamlessly, it's going to be a challenging game for you to continue to have fun in, because if you're not able to handle the chaos of the game maturely, it's gonna be very rough for you. It's gonna be very, very rough for you if you want that constant control over the game. It's gonna be very, very rough for you. In terms of like the challenges I've had with it, I feel like it's funny because when I'm doing the fun streak, there's a lot of people that are very easy quickly just be like, rip the fun streak. Anytime anything slightly goes wrong, it's like, rip the fun streak, rip the fun streak. Like the fun streak's gone. It's like the other day, the East server for Dead by Daylight seemed like it was having issues for some reason. Like every single match I loaded into, it was putting me on West servers instead, because everybody who was in my group was East except for one person who was on West, and it swapped, right? Because typically in that situation, the 3 people have good ping and then the 1 person doesn't, because they're coming from a different server. It was the flip situation where our West friend had the good ping and the 3 of us had 100 plus, up to 150 ping. And it kept going for a couple matches. And people were like, well, rip the fun streak, because, things were particularly laggy because the East server was having issues. And I think to myself, it's just like, is that it? Is that all it takes for you? It takes like 1 or 2 laggy games and you're just like, oh, it's impossible for me to have fun anymore. Like, is that all it takes for you? All it takes is like 1.5 laggy matches, and suddenly you're like, oh, fun's ruined for the day. I just can't have a single shred of fun in this game anymore. The servers were laggy. Like even in the event that I had a bad match, because that's not because of the gameplay loop and cycle of Dead by Daylight, the actual game itself. That is a technical issue. Like that is a server problem. That is not like the design and game flow of Dead by Daylight creating an unfun situation for me. And even then, it wasn't that terrible. I was just kind of like, oh, that kind of sucks. But like, I saw it the opposite way. I'm like, oh, well, it's not because I'm having fun because of things in the game. It's just the server, whereas some people be like, the server's so dumb and now I'm having fun. Like people seem kind of like eager like very, very eager to have the fun streak end. And that's the thing I keep coming back to in this kind of like ranty kind of commentary video, is that mentality that people have, is that like people want to see the fun streak fail. People want to see something take it down. People don't want me to continue to have fun in the fun streak, which is just kind of like, that's very strange to me. You know, that's a very, very odd feeling that people are like rooting for me to not have fun. Because it's just like, I don't know, is it just like something not connecting, something frustrating about, you know, somebody being able to derive that much fun from a game that on the outside seems so like inherently frustrating and angering? Like, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people are rooting just for the downfall of the fun streak. And I just find it generally kind of like odd and bizarre that people want there to not be fun in the game. And I think that kind of highlights the whole reason I put the fun streak into effect in the first place, is because if you're going into every match, if you're going into every time you pull up DBD hoping that the fun streak dies, hoping that you don't have fun, hoping that you have a bad time, you're that ready to have a bad time, you're that open and vulnerable to having a bad time, odds are you're probably going to have a bad time. If you have that mindset just watching somebody else have fun in a fun streak and you want that to end, I can't imagine what it's like for you booting up the game and you getting into the game and just having this very like, oh, well, anything can happen and 90% of those things are going to upset me. Like, that's a very terrible mindset to go into the game having. And it's just like, I'm not saying that there's not things about this game that are inherently frustrating and upsetting. Like, I'm probably going to make a video about that on its own this week as well. Is that I'm not saying that that's not the case. But the mindset you walk in going, well, oh, it's just doomed from the start. Like, of course you're having a bad time all the time. And I feel like the community really, really hypes up and, you know, puts a lot of emotional effort into this idea of like, oh, well, it's just doomed to fail. You're just doomed to have a bad time because it's DBD, duh. And that just kind of like makes things aggressively worse. So, TLDR, I think that the fun streak has been a fun experiment. It showed me I can have a lot more fun in the game than I thought I could have. And that the game's not really as awful as a lot of people make it out to be. And I think a lot of it boils down to a mindset of general negativity about the game and being so eager to hate it that you are painting a darker picture of the game than it inherently may have. So, yeah, what do you guys think about the fun streak experiment? Let me know down in the comments below. Will you try the fun streak experiment yourself? Might be fun. Might be fun to try and find at least one fun takeaway each match you have. And tell me how far you get. Well, that's going to be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today. But I do upload daily, so I will see you in the tomorrow zone. But if I don't, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.